How's it going, speedsters? Welcome back to a brand new Flash video. So I thought I would do this week's trailer, but also a teeny bit of news as well, and some speculation chucked in there, because hey, who doesn't like to theorize about what's coming up in the Flash, even though we have this season cut short with episode 19 being that finale. And if you still don't know all about that, Grant Gustin actually gave us a bunch of details, along with information of the original finale that was meant to have a massive cliffhanger with the Reverse Flash. So once again, just a little bit of a plug. I do want to put that in the cards above of this video just in case you haven't seen it. I covered all of the new information a couple of videos back, some of which actually pertains to this video, as in this new trailer for the next episode we see Mirrorverse Iris more or less getting exposed, as Barry is really getting on to the fact that that isn't really his Iris. But also guys, make sure you stick around to after the breakdown of next week's episode, because in this video later on I will be discussing episode 18, which is all about Godspeed returning, as we've got a little bit of details about that. And yep, I want to speculate and theorize about it, and I really want to hear your thoughts on it in the comments down below. So make sure, whether you skip ahead to that, whether you don't want to see the trailer breakdown for next week's episode from me, just yeah, make sure you stay tuned to that bit, because yeah, I really want to talk about it. But without any further delay, speedsters, I'm going to show the trailer for the next episode, just in case you haven't seen it already, or even if you have, let's refresh our minds before we get into that breakdown.
Something happened to Iris.
Barry, how could you do this? For God's sake, I'm your wife.
You're not my wife. The real Iris is out there somewhere. I won't let her down.
Fine. You want to see who I really am? I'll show you.
So yeah, the trailer for next week's episode, it looks decent. I'm gonna say I'm excited because of one core reason, and can you guys guess what that is? I'll give you a guess. Come on, I'm waiting for it. It's because the Mirrorverse stuff is coming to a close. Now, I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying, like a lot of other people, is that it's been dragged out a little bit. And yes, I know we're getting cut short this season with episode 19, but like, hopefully there'll be a bit of time addressing the whole actual Mirror Master stuff to Ava McCulloch with the low-key main villain, which I think we can all guess is happening before this season ends, or whether that bleeds into the next season. But either way, and this will get into my Godspeed stuff later, it doesn't actually conclude here, but it's the first step properly of the whole stuff coming to a close, with Barry realizing, especially with the end of last episode with him being kicked out from Iris, that there's something quite wrong with his wife, or is that even his wife, and this trailer really demonstrates that. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I did plug that video of mine going over the details that Grant Gustin gave us, of which I'll plug a little bit from that video right now, in terms of how he says he goes to Cecile, obviously to talk about what he thinks, and lays out his whole kind of hypothesis with this imposter Iris. Now, I'm likely showing the promo photos from this episode throughout this video and breakdown of Barry talking to Cecile. You can see the imposter Iris. It looks like stuff is going down at various points. We even have some promo photos of Ava and Iris looking like they're having a disagreement of sorts. So I think, you know, no matter what, by the end of this episode, not only is Barry trying to get rid of this imposter Iris, and we'll get to that bit at the end of this trailer, but also it looks like there may be a bit of a confrontation in the Mirrorverse as well, which leads to Iris actually trying to get out of the Mirrorverse in episode 18, because the synopsis for episode 18 actually ends by saying, meanwhile, Iris tries to escape the Mirrorverse, which means she doesn't get out in the next episode. By the way, at the very beginning of the trailer, we hear Barry himself saying something happened with Iris, and I'm thinking that he's probably talking to Cecile there, just because, as I mentioned, Cecile is probably going to use her powers to maybe just feel out the fact that this isn't the actual real Iris. Now, the only problem I have with that, if that actually happens, because I can't confirm that, of course, but it just seems like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't Cecile try and use her powers to obviously maybe use a verification method to see if this is imposter or real Iris? Is that she could have done that ages ago, right? She could have maybe sensed that something was off. You could argue or put in the story that, oh, there was no reason for her to suspect anything, I guess. But I don't know, it just feels like it's a bit picky and choosy as to when Cecile picks up weird vibes off people, and I feel like she should have done that earlier. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I could be wrong, she might not use her powers, but given how much Cecile is in the promo photos and the trailer, it seems that she's going to be lending some assistance to Barry in maybe the form of her powers. And we even do get one part in the trailer where we see Barry speaking to Cecile, with also some stuff laid out in the background on that board where it says how often, sneaking at night, night. We can see Iris pictures on the backboard there, and it says like only at McCulloch. I'm guessing that says Industries. Either way, maybe Barry with his super speed. I guess he wouldn't waste it though, even though we can see that there's a lot of red on his watch there, or his speed gauge, so he's rapidly running out of speed. Either way, it looks like he's investigating the crap out of this, and it's probably obvious that he's laying it out to Cecile, saying, look, I think there's something majorly going wrong here. Now, another interesting thing here is that we do see Iris kind of losing her mind in the Mirrorverse. I mean, I could be wrong there. Either way, it looks like something's going down with her. And we see her in this room with a load of fragmented mirrors. Now, this could be a little base of operations for Ava to look out at various things going on in the actual world, maybe through the eyes of imposter Iris and also Cisco's girlfriend. With that little screech or scream, whatever you want to call it, from Iris in the trailer, I'm thinking maybe this could be related to what I said earlier from the promo photos. I don't know, in this photo it does look like, you know, Iris wants to do something. She looks kind of pissed off at Ava, and she's holding this thing in her hand. Maybe she wanted to try something with the mirror, but Ava's like, oh crap, like if I actually let her do that, she might actually be able to get out. So she's like, if you do that, you'll actually cause a massive problem. I don't know, obviously I'm speculating at this point, but maybe Iris is getting close to getting out, and this is where maybe, just maybe, that Iris will suspect something with Ava, that something is off with her, which we all know is the case because, well, she's keeping her in there. And then with episode 18, the Godspeed episode, which we're just about to get onto, guys, don't worry, is when Iris will probably actually maybe break out by the end of the episode, and hopefully Ava might also get out at the same time, which will kind of also drop this big, somewhat of a bombshell, predictable bombshell, that Ava is now, oh look, Mirror Master is now in the real world. She'll go after her husband, Joseph Carver, which, you know, is kind of predictable anyway, especially with the mirror breaking at the end of episode 16, and those two seeming at odds with each other, very much so, not on the husband and wife level, but very much so on the I'm gonna kill you level. And then at the end of the trailer, guys, we see Iris actually flex. Fine, you want to see who I really am, and it looks like she really is showing Barry and Cecile or Team Flash or whoever who she really is, and that is an imposter. And we even see this moment where Barry has a scratch on his face. Now I'm really wondering here if, you know, Barry and Iris have this confrontation in that house, but also that mirror or imposter Iris is the reason why he has that scratch on his face. And, you know, we see Barry looking around the room with mirrors. I'm thinking maybe we could see imposter Iris hop between mirrors, like a little freaking evil bunny rabbit of mirror mastery. I don't know what I was saying there, but either way, maybe since he isn't using his speed, imposter Iris slightly injures him, gets away, does it through hopping between the mirrors, just like Mirror Master would, even though she isn't technically Mirror Master, but you get my drift, and she gets away, and then things leave off with Barry adamant about getting his wife out. But either way, that's the trailer. You know, next episode looks interesting. I'm more interested in the fact that it's all going to be coming to a near close for this storyline, and also just kind of the beginning of the grand reveal of, why would you call it a grand reveal? But the main reveal of, okay, Iris, you're getting out, but also what are we going to do about Ava McCulloch, because she's a big threat. But it's also interesting to just consider that, you know, after that, we've just got episode 19, which is the finale. So I'm guessing that the main threat from Ava McCulloch will be resolved at the beginning of season 7, when you have to consider that we would have had episode 20, 21, and 22 after this to resolve the whole Ava maybe getting out of the Mirrorverse storyline as well. But also, they would have dropped the massive cliffhanger with the Reverse Flash having found a new body or host or whatever, and then possibly being set up as the next season's villain. But let's move on to that Godspeed stuff I teased at the beginning of this video, and that is with the synopsis of episode 18. Now, this is more a bit of speculation, but some of you may or may not know that we were getting Godspeed returning with Hartley Rathaway, who is obviously Pied Piper. Now, this is the synopsis for that episode. Godspeed and Pied Piper return. When Godspeed returns, Barry turns to Hartley Rathaway for help. However, things get tense quickly after Barry realizes one of the changes from Crisis is that the Flash and Pied Piper are now enemies. Meanwhile, Iris tries to escape the Mirrorverse, so that's what I meant earlier in terms of how Iris seems to try and escape in episode 18. Maybe they actually might even delay that to the point of where she tries to escape, but she doesn't escape still in episode 18, but then gets out at episode 19. We're gonna have to wait and see there, but either way, Godspeed and Pied Piper return. Now, this could be done in a billion different ways, whether that's through through results from Crisis, through Godspeed returning, or whether that's from my earlier theories with we have to remember how Godspeed was caught in episode 1, but was that really Godspeed? No, because we found out that Barry had been catching multiple Godspeeds over the summer, which then later kind of made me think, oh, what if, you know, the Black Hole organization through Joseph Carver had been trying to manufacture somewhat of a speedster kind of thing through what Black Hole have already been doing through their assassins, like Ultraviolet, and then that Sunshine lady, I've forgotten the name. Did she have a name? I can't remember. But either way, we've had people from working for Black Hole. Maybe Black Hole have been trying to replicate something with a speedster. Now the grand question is, and I'm going to be looking out for comments from you, not only in speculation but also your anticipation for this episode, is that am I excited? Not really. Just because, well, of course, I'm looking forward to seeing a speedster in some form. Godspeed, his suit looks awesome, but has his story been awesome so far in The Flash? Not necessarily. And the one thing they had with this season that they planted the seeds of in episode 1 is, what are all these Godspeeds doing running around Central City that they have multiple versions of them locked up in the pipeline? And now we're going to finally revisit that. Granted, you know, we're post-Crisis now, so does the story that we had before Crisis with those multiple imposter Godspeeds running around Central City still pertain to this post-Crisis world? That's another question as well, but I'm just hoping that it won't be a letdown. I'm thinking it will just be a one-off episode. Either way, I hope it's still linked to Black Hole. Not that we had confirmation of that in the first place, but I just think they can't waste this opportunity to make it even better than what they have before, because it just hasn't been that great beforehand. Maybe some of you really enjoyed Godspeed beforehand, but I feel like considering what they could do with him, it would be a huge shame if it's just like, oh, you know, Godspeed pops up again for some reason or another. The story isn't that much of a grand reason. Pied Piper helps neutralize him because Barry can't use his speed much, and that's basically it. Like, oh, okay. And as for Hartley Rathaway, you know, I'm excited to see what the reasoning is behind what Barry did in this post-Crisis world and Team Flash to Pied Piper, because if you guys remember when he briefly appeared before and he's like, you have no idea, I can't remember what he exactly said, but it's like, not after what you did or what you guys had done to me. Like, something that Team Flash did to Hartley Rathaway, you know, made them enemies. But in this episode, I'm guessing Barry's gonna obviously, you know, hopefully resolve that, and he's gonna use his powers to help stop Godspeed. But, you know, that's where I'm kind of worried, because that just sounds like a typical straightforward episode where there's nothing too significant about Godspeed. But hey, I don't know that till we see it. I guess, you know, keep an eye out for my review to see what I thought of this newest appearance of Godspeed. But let me know what you think is the story behind this latest appearance of Godspeed. I'll be looking out for those comments, guys. You know, I'll be replying to them as well. So would love to hear your theories. Do you think it's to do with Black Hole? Do you think it's to do with something totally different? Do you think that just in the post-Crisis world, he just appeared in an earlier time? And I hope we get some good answers, not just a weakly villain of a character that could be put to much better use. But that's absolutely everything I've got to say in this bonus Flash video of this week. I think that's actually my third Flash video in a row, which, you know, hasn't happened for quite a while. But as usual, guys, let me know everything you thought. If you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate getting some of your support through the form of a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe for more Flash videos just like this. Also, check out my Stargirl review if you're looking forward to it. If you're apprehensive about it, trust me, you're going to want to watch my review, because it's a non-spoiler review, and you're going to want to hear, I guess, all about it, because, as I said, even if you're apprehensive, trust me, I was as well. But this review will give you an insight into what to expect from that show after me seeing the first 3 episodes, that is. But I hope you're all remaining safe. I hope you're all doing well. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you speedsters in the next video. Goodbye.